when she looked around the room, she realized that there were a lot of bottles all around the room. It turns out that this man was urinating in the bottles. Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Well, from today's title of the video, you know I'll be covering Reesa Teesa's Who the F Did I Marry? If you don't know who Reesa Teesa is, you must be living under a rock. Well, I'm just kidding. You may not be a big fan of TikTok. This is basically like a 50-part series telling us how she met, dated, married and divorced a pathological liar to come here and to give you like a summary. I did it on my TikTok and it was well received, so I have my little notes right here. Story time is a 50-part. She's like an 8 hours long story time. I give you a summary because there are a lot of women who have gone through or is going through the same, and I know that her story will help somebody. Back in 2020 March to be exact, she was online dating. So remember March 2020, that was when COVID just started. She basically matched with this guy and she matched with him on 2 different dating sites. I think she said Facebook dating site and I think Plenty of Fish. Matched with him, and apparently the guy was under 2 different names. So for example, one name was saying Matthew and the other one was saying Matt. They talked for a few days, and during the conversation he said that he was a regional manager and he just recently moved into the Atlanta area. He got a promotion with his job, so he's now a regional manager at some production company. He is divorced because his ex-wife cheated on him, so it basically gave him a fresh start, and he was even looking a house to buy. Gave her a background such as his family, where he says that both parents are deceased. However, his father was a retired police officer as well as a pastor, and his mother was a retired teacher. 3 days later they agreed to go on a date. So where they were living, like for example they were an hour apart from each other, they decided to meet in the middle. So each person would drive 30 minutes to meet at the Cheesecake Factory. On her way to meet him, she actually had a tire blowout. The station called him and he came over and met her. He changed the tire, he paid for the tire, and she thought that was very impressive. When she saw him, first of all, she was very impressed. She's like, okay, he's a very attractive man, you know, because you know sometimes maybe the online thing and when you see the person online and who you see in front of you are 2 different things. She was very impressed. Changing the tire and everything, she said they held hands together and walked into the restaurant, and she was like in awe. She was like so wowed. For the sake of the story, we're gonna call him Legion, and that was his character in her story. If you know who Legion is, you will find out why exactly his pseudonym is Legion. 2 weeks later, after they have been talking, COVID became rampant and then there was a shutdown in Georgia. So now they had to decide where they're gonna quarantine. They wanted to quarantine together, but they were deciding on whose home they're gonna quarantine, because he just moved from another state coming up. He was just basically living into a studio apartment, but she was living into a 3-bedroom, I think 2-bathroom, nice place, big enough place. So they agreed to say okay, he will come and stay with her. Apparently now he started paying all her bills, and that even wowed her, swept off her feet a little bit more. Giving you as how she gave the story. And as a matter of fact, the only side note is that she took full accountability of everything that she did and wanted, because she said she was so desperate for a man that he basically came to her like a knight and in shining armor. So this is the person that she got. So Legion started to pay her bills, he would wine and dine her, and he was just everything that she was looking for in a partner. And discussed that they're basically looking towards marriage. That Legion had just been promoted to a regional manager and is new in the area. So with that, he said that he was buying a house. So when she asked him about the purchase of the home, you know, they are together, they want to make this work, you know what they're going to do. So he suggested that, you know, he will buy the house and she can just come and live with him, since you know it's a relationship and this is what they're gonna work on. He said that he used to play football, something that he calls arena football. A lot of persons in the comments were saying they don't know what arena football is. I haven't taken the time to look up what arena football is, and I really don't care what arena football is, but she didn't know what arena football is, and many persons in the comment section don't know what arena football is. So if you know what it is, just drop a comment down in the comment section. So he basically said that from playing arena football, he had a lot of money, and as a result of that he has been saving so he can afford to purchase a home. He even showed her a physical letter with the Chase Bank letterhead, which is a pre-approval letter to say that he was pre-approved for a mortgage of $750,000. So she's like, okay, this guy is really loaded, that he may be able to maintain a mortgage for a home for $750,000. So he did show her that letter. So We are now in April 2020. They are starting to look for houses, but because there's a lockdown, a lot of the viewing is done virtually. So they came across this particular house. Apparently the tenants were still living in this property. COVID restrictions, and plus the tenants were still living in there, so they couldn't go with all of the COVID and everything. So they had to do like a virtual viewing. When they did the virtual viewing, both of them loved it, and it was in their price range. So he said that he will go ahead and put down an offer for the house. So she left everything up to him, because remember, he has the money. He has all of this money in savings account, as well as he said that he had the money invested from football in an offshore account. So that is where he had majority of the money. So he was basically able to put in an all cash offer for a house for $750,000. He told her that's what he did and he will take care of it. So she didn't really do much. She wasn't in the details of everything. She just knew that this was happening, but he was in dialogue with the realtor and getting basically the paperwork and everything. A few weeks had passed and he wasn't saying anything about the house. So when she asked him about the house, he said that he had put in an offer. So the realtor that he was dealing with did not know about this offer. Then she confronted Legion again. And when Legion responded, he said that he had another friend which is also a realtor, and he wanted that friend to benefit from the sale of the house. So he was dealing with this other friend that we don't know. However, she said that she knew something was off, so she went and checked on the website where the house was, and she saw the house being under contract, so she felt a little bit relieved. Moving forward, later down from that, she was asking, you know, the house under contract, what is happening? When are we going to go ahead and do the walkthrough and stuff like that? He is saying that because of COVID, things are kind of really slow, and it was just a lot of excuses. Turns out that he did not put in an offer for the house. She ended up calling the real estate company that was dealing with that property and was only to be told that home was under contract and was being purchased by a white elderly couple that had nothing to do with Reesa or Legion or him putting in an offer on the house. I even left out some key details before she found that out. When he said that he put an offer on the house and she saw the house under contract on the website, they started going furniture shopping. This man went and paid down the deposit on appliances, and they went to Ashley Furnitures. They were all over different furniture places, and basically putting down deposits and stuff like that. And this actually convinced her, because she saw him physically take out money, hand it to the store clerk to basically hold appliances and furniture. When she found out that the house had fell through, she said she started just recording audio diaries. She didn't know why, but she had an inkling that she needed to start recording some of the things that he was saying and some of the things that were happening. We are now in May, and in May she got pregnant. It's in March. In May she got pregnant. When she got pregnant, now she has said, you know, now is the time that she knows that she was renting, and with the area she was living in, she did not want to live there. Like, she wanted a home so bad and whatever. So they started looking at more houses. She said at the bottom line they looked at over 20 different properties, and further down I'm going to tell you automatically something happened and it fell through. And this was mostly he refused to show proof of funds, and we'll get back to that story shortly. Initially that he said that he was married before and his ex-wife cheated on him. Apparently that ex-wife had 2 children, a boy and a girl, and they're young adults. So he told Reesa that even though his ex-wife cheated on him, he had a good relationship with the kids and he wanted to maintain that relationship. In June, unfortunately, Reesa had a miscarriage, and at the same time, Legion, who just came from another state to Atlanta as a regional manager, has now been promoted to vice president of production, which means that with this promotion, and she's showing her paper trail and her emails, will be getting a company car valued $90,000. He'll be getting an assistant, he'll be getting a private office, and of course, you know, whatever pay increase that may come with that. I think she said something like over $200,000. And remember, he was already paying the bills in her house, so she did not have to worry about her bills, only just her car note as well as her insurance. So when she had the miscarriage, she had to go in to the hospital for a procedure to, you know, basically flush everything that else was in her system. But because Legion has just been promoted to vice president, he had a board meeting, so he was not able to attend to go to the hospital with her. So that is when he suggested, oh, I did not remember let me just fill in this part. He told her, apart from his parents being passed away and what they did, he told her that he had 4 brothers and 2 sisters. So in this case now, he said that one of the sisters was a nurse, and he would ask that sister to take Reesa to the hospital to get the procedure done. But Reesa did not meet her physically. She would just hear him talking on the phone with the brothers in some mornings, or hear him talking on the phone with the sisters. She would hear him talking on the phone and having conversations with his siblings and other family members on the phone, but she has not physically met anyone. So he had offered for that sister, one of the sisters, to take Reesa to the hospital for the procedure, and Reesa wasn't comfortable because she didn't know her. She hasn't met her physically, so Reesa asked one of her other friends to take her to the hospital. She did the procedure, and then the doctor had called Legion now to come and pick up Reesa from the hospital. When he called, Legion's assistant, who is David, answered the phone and said that Legion is in a board meeting and he can't take the call now, so the doctor could leave a message. And the doctor said, well, you know, it's a medical condition, I can't disclose anything, but you can have Legion call us back when he's out of the meeting. Half hour later, the doctor receives a call back from Legion as David had relayed that message, and he was told by the doctor to come and pick up Reesa, and that's what he did. In the midst of all of this, one day he came to Reesa very distressed and told her that his ex-wife's daughter had passed away. Remember, he was extremely close with the kids, so this, even though Reesa did not know them, it also broke her heart. So apparently the ex-wife's daughter had passed away from COVID, and he said that her brother had found her unresponsive at home, and when they went, apparently she had passed, and it was COVID related. So as a result, he wants to donate $2,000 towards the funeral. So that is the type of person that Legion was. Reesa had a car, and he was saying that, you know, it's time for her to upgrade, and he wants to upgrade her. So her dream car was a blue BMW X5 with cognac interior, and they went looking for the blue X5 with cognac interior. I think they test drove that. They went to Audi, they went to Volkswagen, they went to a lot of the top line or top brands motor vehicle company, like every week, just like they were house hunting. They were also car shopping, and they did this like every weekend. But so now, after car shopping, they finally decided on I think it was a BMW for her, something very nice, and he said that he would have done the down payment and all of that, and he wanted to give this to her, and she should go home one day early from work because the car will be delivered. And so she did, and he gave her a specific time in which the car should have been delivered. That time came and passed. She called him, and he said that he called the company, and the company told him that that particular car was stuck on the truck, and that car was never seen of or heard of from that day moving forward. Reesa said there was something that was just not sitting right with her. Even though he would show her emails, he would show her letters, she would hear him on the phone having certain conversations, because she would even hear him at work even reprimanding some of his employees, because he's now the vice president of production. So she would hear him reprimanding, she would hear him in board meetings and hear him talking to persons while she may be at work, and he would call her every day, and she would hear him in the background having conversations with his employees and making business plans and, you know, stuff like that. But there was something that was not sitting right in her spirit regardless. Fast forward to January 2021, they got married. So this is 9 months after they met. They basically went to the courthouse and they got married. Nobody was invited. Her parents didn't know, her friends didn't know. He was saying that when she was basically filling out the marriage certificate to that effect, he was supposed to write down his social security number. So she said she made a mental note of the social security number, and she went ahead and ran a background check. When she did it, nothing came up. She did it for the criminal history as well, nothing came up. So that gave her a little bit of relief that, okay, maybe it's all in my head, maybe it's really now my turn. She literally said that maybe now it's now my turn, and maybe because I haven't been used to anything good, when something good is happening to me, I am now questioning, you know, the good that is now happening. Okay, then maybe, you know, it's really my turn and this is a good man. In between all of this, he was going to work as always. He would go at a certain time, he would leave at a certain time, he would speak to his brothers and other family members on the phone every single morning, to the point where he was having conversations and she was in the bathroom getting ready. For example, his brother's name is John. He would say, Reesa, John said to tell you good morning, and she would be like, hey John, tell John morning, and he would be relaying these conversations back and forth. And he seemed like a very normal guy. She didn't have anything to worry about. He will go to work every day on time, come back like clockwork. In March of 2021 now, which is a couple months later, he told her that because he knows that it's always been a dream of her to go to London and Paris. So he showed her an itinerary of plane flights, of cost, as well as reservations for hotels, as London trip. And she was just like wowed, like, oh my god, this man really went ahead and got all the information. And he told her, that was in March, that come July they're going to go, so she should ensure that she reserve the dates off from work because he's going to take her to London. And he presented, of course, the itinerary. She was excited about that. But when all of that happening, they were still going house hunting, and every time this man was being asked to show proof of funds, he refused to show proof of funds. With a week, the house just kept falling through, and she became very frustrated. She became disinterested. She became very unhappy. So she said, listen, I am going to be done with this relationship or this marriage, so we need to get help and we're going to save this. They started going to counseling. When they started going to marriage counseling now, she basically told the pastor and his wife that, you know, this man is refusing to show me his bank account, that he claims that he's going to buy a house with, I can't see it. So that is when he basically logged on to some online banking and he showed her the phone. You know, he had the phone at least logging in, turned it to her and showed her. So apparently it was one of the 3 accounts that he said he had, which was a Chase bank account, and this bank account had $15,000 in it. But he refused to show her another US savings account, and he refused to show her the offshore account, which that one would have been loaded, since he was able to put in an all-cash offer on a house. So the gaslighting starts. Every time she would ask for proof of this or anything, or she would question it, he would say that he's not a liar, he hates liar. He was just against everything that was bad in the books. He was against it. House hunting again. This time now, she said that she's gonna take this on fully herself. She does not want it to be involved. She will not leave the emails, the things. All the emails were coming to her email. She will see all the paper trail, all the telephone conversations, everything regarding the deal for the house. They got a new realtor, which was a female, and we're gonna call her Amber. So she said that when Amber, they viewed the house and they loved it. It was everything. She started imagining herself being able to decorate, seeing her family, just seeing her life right there. As all women, if you're a woman watching this, you know how it goes. When you move into a new space, you can see how you can make it your own. So that would have been happening for her, and every time then she would have just gotten her heart shattered, because there was always something once Legion was involved. Now Amber, which is a new realtor, has to show them a property. They both absolutely love it. So Legion decided he's going to put in an all-cash offer on this house, and Amber, which is a realtor, decided that she wanted proof of funds, and she was adamant that she wanted proof of funds. Reesa is now saying, just give her the proof of funds. You say you have the money, I don't understand what is the problem. No, he wants the sellers to accept the offer before, and it was like a whole back and forth, a whole tug and war. And of course, you know, he did not produce the proof of funds. This is when Amber, the realtor, said to Reesa, listen, I don't know what is happening, and I don't want to, you know, basically pry, but there is something going on and you need to get to the bottom of it. That is when everything changed for Reesa. Remember that he said that he played arena football at this particular college, and she called the college and asked about this. There's absolutely no recollection of him even attending that college, so therefore he did not exist at that college. When Reesa confronted him about going to that college and playing football, he said to her that he was a private resident. His father paid the school not to list him as somebody who attends there, but to list him as a private resident, hence why the school does not have any record of him attending. Another part that I left out as well. So when he said that the ex-wife's daughter had passed away. A few weeks later after that, he said that his grandmother had also passed away from COVID. Lord, may her soul rest in peace. And took Reesa to his grandmother's gravesite. So he took her to the cemetery and said that his grandmother is buried here and his grandfather is also buried here. So for example, their last name is Brown, so you wouldn't see any first name or any date or anything like that. Only thing it will have is Brown on the headstone, and then that's it. And then he will say that is where his grandmother was buried and she passed away during COVID. So make a note of that because nothing no go so. Reesa ended up getting the ex-wife the ex-wife Facebook or something like that. I messaged her and ended up calling her, and the ex-wife heard Reesa call her. The ex-wife knew exactly that, you know, things were very bad. So remember that he told Reesa that the ex-wife's daughter had passed away, you know. So when they finished having the conversation about him, Reesa said to the ex-wife, so how is your daughter? And the lady answered and said, my daughter is fine. Reesa said she could not bring it to herself to tell the ex-wife what Legion had said about her daughter, that her daughter had passed away from COVID. Few months had gone by now, and he is now complaining that he has some knee injury and that he got from playing arena football, and it was acting up on him and he was in very horrible pain, and also that they were stressing him at work and he wanted to leave the job. And he used to work at Apple and he still has his connections at Apple, so he may leave the production company to go over to Apple, and even if it means that he'll take a pay cut, he'll do it. And in between all of this, he's having some horrible knee problems, because she said that when she met him, he was about 3x large. He was a very big and trapped-in guy, 6'3", I believe she said he was, and he was about wearing a 3x, and he was losing weight rapidly to the point where he was even taking her medication, which that she took when she was going through the miscarriage a few months ago. So he was in excruciating pain. He was losing weight rapidly. He refused to go to the doctor because she would offer to go, and he would say, yeah man, I'm gonna go to the doctor, say I should just ice it, but he was in unbearable pain to the point where he had to move from the bedroom because she couldn't sleep when night come. So he had to move from one of the bedroom to go to the guest their bedroom, to go to the guest bedroom, and all he was feeding on was some Powerade. So they were going through Powerade by the cases. So she would leave him sometimes there, go to work, and she'll come back and see the house in the exact same condition how she left it. He had not gotten up to eat or anything like that. He was just chugging down those Powerades. It turns out now I made a list of all the lies that this man, well, most of the lies, because if I tell you all the lies, we'll be here for another 2 hours. Remember I said that he said that he worked as a vice president of production. Apparently this man was a forklift driver. No disrespect to forklift driver, but that's exactly what he was doing. And I'm sure if he had disclosed that, she would have still given him a chance. And he was able to pay the bills because he did not have any other responsibilities. And she said her bills were like for $1,400. Her rent was for like 900 and something, and then the bills another 200 or 300 and something. So he was able to cover the bills being a forklift driver. Now that we know that he was a forklift driver, we can just backtrack to the fact when Reesa was in the hospital and the doctor had called and his assistant David had answered the phone. That was Legion pretending to be his own assistant. So that was David, meaning Legion is David and David is Legion. Same person, one of a kind. He said that he had 4 brothers and 2 sisters. It turns out that Legion is a twin, and that was never mentioned. He is a twin and they have 1 older brother. The 2 sisters do not exist any at all. Remember when she had the miscarriage and he offered to have one of his sisters take her because she's a nurse? Had Reesa said yes, I would have loved to know who would have showed up. But at the same time, remember there's always something coming up. So maybe on the day you would have said that the sister had some emergency and he probably couldn't take her. So there were no sisters. That his parents started a church, and his father was a pastor and his mother was a retired teacher. His mother never teach. Apparently she did substitute teaching 1 and 2 times, and his father was furthest from church as the east is from the west. Regarding the company car, that I'm not sure if I did mention that he got $90,000 to purchase a company car, which they went to the car dealer, they bought a BMW for the company vehicle and all of that, but apparently he did not drive the company car home. He parked it at some other location and then drive something else to work, and then he will do that coming back from work, drive back to that location, drop off the brand new BMW, and then go home, because his claim is that based on the area that they live in, he wouldn't want anything to do with the vehicle. So she never saw the vehicle, however she saw a photo of the vehicle. Regarding him talking on the phone with family members each day, when she realized now about the truth, this man did not have a relationship with his family. Nobody cared for him, and so he wasn't speaking to anybody. So she demonstrated the conversation, so he'd be like this. Hey John, morning. Yeah, what's up? I'm here, man. I'm just having some dinner now. Yeah, she's in the kitchen. Reesa, John said hello.
Oh, hey John.
Yeah, she said hi. Yeah, so how are you and the family? You all good? Oh, so Keisha went to school today? I see. Yeah. Alright, bro, I gotta go now, alright? So take care. Yeah, call me in the morning. Yeah, cool. And that is how all of his telephone conversations would go. She says she spoke to one brother, which obviously would have been the older brother, but everybody else was just him on the phone and him relaying the messages. So she did not hear any conversations. The same thing about him reprimanding people at work. It's the same pattern. When he said that his grandmother passed away in COVID time, apparently his grandmother passed away in 2008. Lady has been buried and forgotten. And he was also speaking to her uncle on the phone, which was also deceased from a while back as well. And the gravesite where he took her to did not belong to anybody that he knows. Apparently, when she did some more searching and digging, she found out that this man had actually worked at the cemetery before, so he knows that there is a tombstone there with his family name on it, but he does not know the person's deceased or buried on that plot.
And you're probably curious about the background check that came back showing up nothing. Apparently, he wrote the incorrect social security number, so he was going with 2 social security number, which was eventually revealed when Reesa wanted to get a new job and it required her spouse's social security. And that is how she ended up with the actual or the real social security, and that is when she started doing some more digging, and later down you'll hear some of the charges.
When he said that he left his ex-wife because he found her cheating or caught her with a man, of course an absolute lie, because the ex-wife did say that no, because of his lying. If it's schizophrenia, I don't want to diagnose anybody, but whatever problem that he had, I think it's a mental illness, that she had to leave because of that, because it was so bad. She was not the first wife, she was not the only wife either. There was another wife before that one. So he did not disclose about the first wife any at all. So apparently he was married twice before he met Reesa. The first marriage lasted only 6 months. And of course, you know, the London trip never happened, because that was just all a figment of his imagination and Google. And speaking of Google, I know you wanted to know about the monies that he showed her. Well, one of the accounts that he showed her that had in $15,000, that Chase account or the mortgage letter, all of those were obviously fictitious. He grabbed those from the internet and doctored them with his name and stuff like that. Regarding the online banking, when he turned his phone, log in and then show her his online thing. End of the story is that basically she found out everything, and then when she tried to divorce him, then he started acting up. His knee injury got so worse to the point where he lost a lot of weight. Health was deteriorating. She did not know exactly what caused the injury or why that was happening, but one, he said it was from arena football. Another time he said that he hurt it at work, so she don't know what the truth is or what's the story behind that. And she found out that he had a criminal history, he was impersonating police officer, and some trespassing, and some other charges were laid against him, and there was actually a warrant out for his arrest. So during the time when she was trying to get divorced, she was also trying to move, and she had kicked him out on his birthday after she realized the truth. And she was just, you know, the diary of a mad black woman.
Months prior, he had lost his job. She did not know, because he was leaving to go to work some days just the same, go on time and come back home on time. But apparently he was fired and he was now living off unemployment. So that is how he was still able to maintain paying the bills with her being suspicious of anything.
She went into the room now before she kicks him out. And remember, he was basically bedridden. He had stopped going to work because the pain was so bad. He was debilitating. So he wasn't able to move or anything like that. So remember, he was chugging down Powerade. When she looked around the room, she realized that there were a lot of bottles all around the room. It turns out that this man was urinating in the bottles. He did not get up to use the bathroom. He was urinating in the bottles and leave them in the room. But she ended up finding out. She ended up eventually divorcing him. He got locked up at a point and released, and she was able to move to another state before he could find her. But he was calling her job, and she had to get a restraining order out on him. He had resurfaced since she had told the story time and saying that everything that she said was a lie about these family members. They said that he has been that way from he was a little boy, so clearly there is something mentally happening up there. I'm gonna link her TikTok down in the description box. And guys, she is going to Paris and London because when her story broke, she broke the internet, she went viral, and she got a lot of funding. Someone offered to purchase her tickets, which was already done, and they raised a lot of money for her spending. So she will be going to see London and Paris as God is in the midst, and you're gonna profit from it. So that's her story, and I would love to hear your comments down in the comment section. And yes, she does take accountability. She does say that she was basically the United Nations of red flag, but because he was showing her things, she just told herself that it was her turn. She wanted to be a wife, she wanted to be a mother, she was desperate, and these are her words. So she have learned her lesson. She's still traumatized, but I'm so happy she was brave enough to share her story. If you like these kind of content and you want me to bring more of these, you know, type of content, just let me know down in the comment section. Remember to, of course, like, comment, and of course subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Jody, and I aspire to inspire. Until next time, guys, walk good.